Hey pilots, this is Craig Gamma with Paraglider Service USA. I just want to go over a problem I had a few years back that I want to pass along the trick to resolve it, and that is when I used to start sewing, the machine would grab one of the tails. I don't know, remember, I'm not sure if it was the bobbin or the upper thread, and it would grab it and lock up the gears down below, and I couldn't figure out why it was the case, and so I started with my needle in the material. I've started it when the needle's on its way in the material, but on its way up. I think that would solve the problem. I've changed the bobbin case, got a new bobbin case, got a new bobbin, switched out to a new needle, and I was still getting the problem, 50% of the time. And I just couldn't figure out why it was doing that. And so it seems like invariably I do one end loop on one side, and then I go to make the second end loop on the other end of the line, which is the most critical one, because you're wasting a lot of line if you screw up that one. And it seemed invariably it always happened during that time and not during the first end loop of the line. So anyhow, I went and talked to the sewing machine mechanic at Bernina shop here in our town, and went over that with him. He's been in the business over 50 years, and he said, well, what you got to do is, it's not the needle on its way up that's going to help you. It's the take-up lever. It has to be on the way up. And he says then that'll keep, that won't allow any slack in the thread, and that way the hook, when it comes around, won't snag it. And I was like, oh, okay, so let me show you how to go through that process here. And I've never had the problem since. This is so great. So anyhow, before I get to start to sew, I always double check my zigzag width, or that I'm in the center line if I'm doing a straight stitch, and I'll lift up the presser foot. I'll move my material to the side, and then I'll run the needle down and up. So I'll take the hand wheel and I'll turn it towards me like this. I'll run the needle down. Whoops, I'm snagging my material here. Bear with me. Run it down all the way, and then the needle's on its way up here now, but the take-up lever is still going down, and so the needle's going up, 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 and then you're gonna have to watch right about here. You'll see the take-up lever start to show that it's on its way up, because it's still going down right here. It's going down, even though the needle's almost halfway up. So the needle's going up, take-up lever is now coming up, as you can see it right there. So you can see it now. That is the point. Right when it's at that point is when I start sewing. But what I have to do is, my upper thread is still underneath. I want to get that out. There we go. And this is the point you can start sewing and not have any issues. So I'll get my material in line. I'll put my setup where I want to be. Let's say this is where I want to be. Put my presser foot down. Oops, not quite where I want to be. Right about there. Okay. And I'll hold my tails not really tight. Give them a little slack. Just have them like so, and then I'll begin sewing. And because this take-up lever is on its way up, I don't understand all the little idiosyncrasies, but the Bernina expert was saying, and it works on any machine, it doesn't have to be Bernina. But I'm telling you, ever since I've started this practice, I never have the problem where the hook snags the thread and binds up. And it's like it pulls it right out of my fingers. No matter how hard I hold it, it's good. And if I hold it tight, it locks everything up. And then I got a mess under here that got the needle stuck in the material. I can't get it up or down. It's just a nightmare. And so I'm telling you, man, this is the ticket. It's the trick. That take-up lever's going up. I've never had the problem since. And so every time I begin to sew now, if I forget to do this one step, invariably, that problem will come right back and hit me in the face. And I was like, oh shoot, that's right. I got to run the needle down, run it up. The needle's starting to come up. Now the take-up letter's still going down. And then once the take-up letter starts to go up, and I usually, it's about halfway up. And when it's right there, because it still has this much more to go up, that means once I start sewing, it's still going up, so it's keeping those threads tight, and that hook won't snag it, and it works so good. It's so sweet. So anyhow, I want to pass that little trick along, because it was 2 years of trial and error, hit and miss, and I couldn't never figure it out. And thank God for my Bernina mechanic.